depende de algo que hagamos todas las redes y la verdad.
Where's yeah.
Can you cut the socks, please?
On the back of your sock, what you got out? Come over here, and
Okay.
Vamos, de manera no...
Es que sé que algunos partidos sí que no las meten.
Was one of the top ones as well. No, it's alright.
Thank you.
Going down.
Entiendo que os dejo tomar, pero no fuera rozado. Ya no hay Marky Clemens está haciendo...
Yeah, you set pieces, yeah? You know what you're doing? Doing the whole, I've got the
Out in the pocket.
Dexter's giving him nothing, by the way.
Hola, 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 hola.
Come on, chap. Fucking right, fellas, eh? Do it right. Let's go, boys. Come on, eh? Run, Jimbo.
Well, a very good morning to you and welcome to Wolves TV's coverage of the second of our pre-season warm-up games from Spain. This one taking place at the club's hotel complex. There are quite a few training pitches in use there, and Levante providing the opposition this morning. But we are told to expect very much a practice game rather than a full pre-season friendly. Despite that, we do have some officials. Jorge Taraja Lahara is the man in charge. And as you can see, Morgan Gibbs-White has the responsibility of leading a pretty youthful Wolves lineup for this one this morning. An impressive performance from him last night. Totti, one of those who was a late substitute, who starts in a more regular central defensive position. Hugo Bueno, Nathan Collins and Gerson Mosquera expected to make up the rest of the back four, with Mosquera playing at right back, we're told. Leander Dendoncker, Conor Ronan and Daniel Podence, the midfield three. Gibbs-White, Theo Corbeanu and Luke Cundle expected to be the attacking trio. Relatively strong lineup from our Spanish opponents, who were another side who were relegated from La Liga last season. Alongside myself, Mikey Burrows, for this one is the former Wolves women defender Claire Hageman, and Claire, very much looking forward to seeing how the boys are getting on.
Yeah, definitely. I think after last night's display, it was exciting to see. 4 goals and a clean sheet is a fantastic start to this pre-season programme in Spain. So really interested to see what happens today. And obviously we're going to see a lot of rotation. We're going to see, reduced minutes for certain players who may have played more last night. But it's always interesting to see how the pre-season programme starts.
Yeah, Levante hoping to set down a marker for themselves. Just saying that they appear to have made a number of changes to what we're anticipating to be their starting lineup, which is always fun from a commentator's perspective. We were given one lineup and spotted at least 2 who have changed. So we will see if there's confirmation at some point. But that is number 9, Roger Martí Salvador. Here's another who wasn't anticipated to have been starting. And Roberto Soldado, you can see in the picture, wearing number 7, the former Real Madrid and Tottenham man, wasn't anticipated to be starting either. So Levante may have been up to a bit of fun and games in what they provided to us as their starting lineup. But we are nearly ready to go.
I don't know if I can deal with the kind of commentary I turn up. Could you mute him? Tone, can you put him on mute?
So that is Soldado, who has stood over the ball and ready to get Wolves moving. And the game underway. So bear with us as Levante have completely changed the side that they were, or announced that they were going to start with. Of course, our focus will very much be on Wolves and how things go this morning. An opportunity for some to impress, including that man.
It's interesting to see already that you've got Daniel Podence sitting out on the right of the front three. I imagine there's going to be a little bit of rotation there between. You've got Corbeanu there as well in the midfield, setting there. But I imagine it will be very fluid in terms of the movement from the midfield into the front three.
Collins to play it back to Jackson Smith, who has spent time out on loan last season. Been at the club for an awful long time. Apologies that we can't see exactly what's going on in certain areas of the pitch. As you can imagine, this is not a setup that is used to broadcasting matches. It's very much a training facility. And the decision was made that we would bring you this game because we knew there would be interest in it, but unfortunately couldn't get a position that could see into every single corner of the pitch, so you have to bear with us in certain situations. Wolves trying to switch the play and work things neatly. Mosquera. And now Collins. An opportunity early on here for Hugo Bueno. And just ran out of a room a little bit. Does look like Wolves are potentially set up with a little bit more of a back three for this one today. We're anticipating them to continue with the four, but certainly looks like a three at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. You can see the way that they're splitting when they're in possession. Toti Gomez is obviously right on the left-hand side, and it looks like whether Corbeanu is playing right wing back in there. And then obviously Hugo Bueno, but Hugo Bueno had a fantastic season for the under-23s, obviously in their promotion campaign last season, so it'd be great to see him get the opportunity to get some minutes in this pre-season and really show what he can do, because he finished the season really impressively.
Let's see ya, Houston. Here we go, Leo. One of you.
Good. The one by Dendoncker, Podence's flick. Gibbs White trying to hang on to things. He's dispossessed by Gonzalo Manero. Looking for an offside flag there, which has gone up eventually.
It's always interesting when they're set up in this way, you know, anticipating a certain lineup, and then we spot that it's a little bit different. But I think it's kind of how Wolves are going to set up. I think there's going to be a bit of flitting in this pre-season between the back four and, you know, looking at the five with the wing backs in there as well. We've got a lot of personnel that can, you know, play in the wing back positions that are maybe traditionally wingers, but they can still do the job in this format.
Well, here's Daniel Podence trying to feed it through. A run of Gibbs White. Needs some support. Gets it from Bueno. Wolves recycling things nicely. Gibbs White. Podence looking for Gibbs White again, and they'll go harmlessly through to the goalkeeper, although they've decided that it's a pass back, I think.
You don't see those very often these days, do you?
Well, that seems a relatively harsh decision from the Spanish official. I'm guessing he's not a Levante fan, and questions being asked.
It's a lively start already, isn't it? It's not ringing of a pre-season friendly, this one. Players surrounding the ref from, you know, just under 5 minutes in.
Well, what are Wolves going to try and work from this set-piece opportunity on the edge of the 6-yard box? It will be indirect, so they can't just run up and smash it like you would a penalty. So Levante are going to try and put as many players back on the wall, back on the line as a wall. Well, they can't have the other players stood where they are on the edge of the 6-yard box. Obviously, they can't go any further back than the goal line, but the other players need to be 10 yards away, unless they're on the line.
There's a big gap on that left-hand side of the goal, isn't there?
There's a couple of players who fancy this just to be poked to the side. Look where the goalkeeper's trying to get off his line, and again the official's going to have to say, you can't do that, you're going to have to be back on the line. Well, you try and practice as many different things as possible in these warm-up games. Not sure we'll see this too many times. Podence, Gibbs wide, and he couldn't get it on target. Just too many bodies in the way. Unusual. He was trying to work it round the gap into the top corner, but
yeah, you wonder whether power might have been the one there, but I think, you know, it's a bit of a freak scenario, isn't it? It's not the sort of thing that you would see frequently in football these days. Definitely not one that they practice on the training ground anyway.
He seemed to actually quite a distance away as Conor Ronan penalised and Totti. By the time that the ball came to him from Daniel Podence, everybody had been able to charge him down. You almost need that kind of the old Arsenal penalty between Henry and Perez. Just touch it.
Yeah, literally. And I think it's almost like you want to be not a one-step run-up. There can't be any run-up. You've got no time for that. By the time he's got to the ball, I think they're already at it. So, yeah, definitely not one that they'd practice and see happening frequently in the season.
In front, Theo, good. Most. Open your body.
Yeah, great to see, isn't it, that Dendonker's the oldest player on the pitch, I think, today at 27, Podence 26, and then the rest of them are all sitting around 20, 21. So lots of positives from this lineup.
Conor Ronan doing well to get the ball clear. Will be lifted back into the danger zone. Good header away by Totti. Picked up by Mark Pubel. Backwards to Roberto Suarez-Pierre. Good pressure being applied and all's getting the benefit of it.
Yeah, great pressure from Gibbs White, isn't it, there? I mean, he's looking so lively, really positive on the ball, looking like he's really enjoying his football at the moment, and obviously comes off the back of a fantastic season that he had on loan at Sheffield United. So, you know, big things from him this season expected.
It wasn't a bad ball from Mosquera. Podence trying to make a nuisance of himself, but the referee's adjudged that it bounced up and hit his hand. Dunga trying to win it back in midfield. Collins going all the way back to Jackson Smith.
I think Collins has got that flexibility, hasn't he, there? I think in this position he's played right back as well, so he's fairly comfortable being in a position where he's on the right hand side of either in a centre back formation in a 4 or of a 3, be on the right hand side. So, but he's made a great start.
Here's Dendonker once more. Collins to Ronan. Right to Bueno.
Nasty one.
Wild Jesse Mosquera from Salvador.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Obviously, you know, for Mosquera last pre-season, he had a great campaign in the pre-season programme, but, you know, finished it with injury, so I'm certain he'll be wanting to have a good start to the season and like put himself in the mix to be a player within the squad that's going to be utilised this season.
Here come Wolves again, trying to get things moving. They haven't had the same fluidity that we saw from them last night, understandable. The amount of different changes and different setup to the play. Ronan finding Dendonker. Now Mosquera. Although not really been able to get into the game so far.
I think you want to get Hugo Bueno on the ball on the left-hand side and get Corvinu on this side as well. Utilise the space on the pitch. Definitely very keen to get on that ball and keep the ball moving. I think the key thing this season for us particularly is the fact that we need to get some more goals on the board. So, you know, possession football is great, but creating opportunities is what we want to do.
Mosquera trying to get on the end of things. It didn't look like he wanted a free kick. He's getting some tough challenges from Salvador. Rona, nice turn. Able to pick out Kundal. Wide to Bueno. Just a little bit behind Daniel Podence.
I think it's tough in this pre-season campaign that people are trying to set their stall out. They want to, give their best display they possibly can, but show that physicality and playing. Although it's obviously early in the morning, it's still playing in heat, and they've recovered from last night's game. Some of them obviously had minutes last night as well. So I think it's always pretty tough in this position for players to set out. There's another offside in there. They're looking quite direct in terms of their play. Levante, they're getting the ball, try and get in behind our back three as much as they possibly can, playing forward, getting the ball forward as quickly as they possibly can, whereas we're obviously being a bit more methodical with our play and a little bit of possession football in the inside our own half. But I think it's just breaking through those boundaries. You look at the surroundings there, the banks of players that Levante have got are really trying to restrict our movement in the final third.
Points to Mosquera. Morgan Gibbs-White. That's a nice turn from Gibbs-White. Looking for support from Kundal.
I think as Gibbs-White made a great turn then, he was just looking for probably a target man to hit for, but I don't think anyone had slotted into the forward role at that point.
Here comes Gibbs-White down the left-hand side, but he's penalised.
It's unlucky. He's looking so lively, really positive. Final third, he's covering every area. I wouldn't say he's necessarily holding down a particular position within that front three at the moment. There seems to be a lot of rotation between him and Podence.
Ball forwards, Mosquera trying to head the ball away. And Dunker thought there should have been a handball in there. Relatively easy for Jackson Smith to deal with. Getting on with things quickly. That was a hefty challenge on Daniel Podence as well from Tony Herrero.
Yeah, there's definitely some physical challenge flying in. I think it's always, a tough one with the Chiquinho injury as well. Nobody wants an injury in pre-season that, affects you even the potential of starting the season. So you can see he's almost trying to ride that tackle before it arrives.
Back to the goalkeeper to launch it forwards. Corbinate trying to apply the pressure. Marcelo Soracci played the ball in field. So Roger Brugi. Levante keeping hold of possession. Herrero falls to Soracci. And backwards as Levante try and build.
Sesión más larga hasta el momento.
Bueno, that wasn't the best of headers back, but Jackson Smith made the best of it. Brave goalkeeping in the end.
Yeah, he made himself big, didn't he? Made it a little difficult for the player to get his shot away, but just a little bit short on the header. Brave goalkeeping there. I mean, he's got his studs up as well as he's trying to get to the ball first, but good goalkeeping.
Esta es una de las cosas que el año pasado consiguió hacerle brillar en el Mirandés, esa capacidad de tener ese puntito eléctrico que otros no tienen. Luego para que el equipo de Echeverría pudiera brillar un año más.
Mosquera on the turn, able to play the ball forwards. Gibbs White's flick couldn't find Corbeanu. We've gone past the quarter hour stage, and I did warn you to expect this to be very much a practice style game rather than a full pre-season friendly, and it's panning out that way a little bit so far, with tempo being hard to come by, and the rhythm not quite being there as it was last night.
I think the rotation of players as well just makes it this way sometimes, you know, people in, people out, not knowing, you know, how many minutes each player's gonna pan out to get, but it's just about practicing formations, players in different positions, testing out how things look. It's another physical challenge, that one.
Yeah, Levante have been incredibly physical so far. Daniel Podence trying to get things moving. I saw Morgan Gibbs White getting himself to his feet, frustrated.
Good recovery from Collins. I think he was just going to sneak the ball away from him, but managed to recover well.
Equipo inglés tratando de progresar, tratando de avanzar. Después lo decíamos, la exhibición ayer también frente al Alavés con un equipo completamente distinto.
18 minutes have been played. Not a huge amount of opportunities. Wolves best from that rather bizarre pass-back scenario. Saw Morgan Gibbs White play the ball wide, having a touch back to him by Daniel Podence. Ronan wants to get away from the challenge. So you may well hear some fruity language from time to time. Apologies, from there in football, you can't control what people are saying, I'm afraid, on the touchline or on the field. Here is Mosquera. Now for Dendoncker. Trying to switch the play out to Bueno. Well to get it under control. Ronan. Kundal back to Totti. Ronan's opportunity to try and pull the strings. Picked out Gibbs White. Daniel Podence. Dendoncker trying to lift it in towards the run of Podence. Kundal couldn't quite get there. And Levante just about work it clear. Across comes Collins. Good defending again from Nathan Collins, and Conor Ronan can build, and Wolves themselves seem to be building, Claire.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're looking a bit more confident in possession now. I think by the looks of the pitch, it's pretty tight actually. So in the final third, it's been, you know, tricky to find the spaces, and I think they are a pretty physical defensive side. So a bit of a free kick here, though. It'd be interesting to see if we start playing or send it in.
There's an effort goalwards that never really seemed to be troubling Levante.
Yeah, it's not the most convincing, but I think it's just testing out moments, isn't it, and getting the support on there as well. I think it's tricky to find the spaces on there. Neither side will want to concede, and I think clean sheets are key. But trying to get some shots on target for us, get our confidence in that final third would be really important in this pre-season programme.
Yeah, for Vezzo. Valero wide to Sorachi. Mosquera so strong. Batted away. The Spanish opponent.
Yeah, that was a great step in there. He's ended up covering Corbeanu as well.
Corbeanu twisting and turning out on the right hand touchline. He lost it at some point.
Handball. Handball. He caught it.
Fuera, partido bastante controlado, partido muy típico de temporada, ritmo algo lento y sin excesiva.
Here's Dendoncker. Might fancy having a go. It wasn't a bad one at all.
Unlucky from Dendoncker. I've seen a couple of training videos of decent finishes actually in there, so it'd be great to see him getting on the score sheet more in the next season. I think, you know, he's the type of player that gets, with his engine that he does have in terms of his work rate, he gets into some great positions, but I think sometimes his finishing ability is not quite there. So decent effort from long range after a little bit of decent interplay, but looks like we're heading for a drinks break.
Yeah, halfway stage of the first half. Early, relatively mid-morning now in Spain. Wolves actually were just beginning to get a head of steam up.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see if we, you know, I think when there's so many changes in the pre-season friendlies, it's difficult to get that fluidity and start playing. But, you know, it is what it is. It's here to practice. It's here for people to get minutes, match fitness, get on the ball, play in different positions, and get Bruno the chance to see people playing in different positions for him. We've got players that are coming back in, like Conor Ronan and Corbeanu, to see how they fit into the process as well. So I think as you get towards the end of the campaign, when we're playing in Portugal, I think that might be, you know, close enough to the Leeds game to start to really seriously think about what our starting 11 and what our squad might look like.
It's been relatively hot, as it's been everywhere in Europe really, but it's been so hot the players have been up and training at 9 AM in the morning and then having a bit of a rest and downtime in the afternoon and training again later on in the evening. So Spain are an hour ahead as well, so it's 11 o'clock Spanish time, which is normally when the players would actually be finishing their morning session. You can see some of them affected by the heat already. It will continue to get hotter, but that's what part of being a top-level footballer is, get used to it.
Yeah, and I think the pre-season campaigns, it's why they go over for warm weather training. They adjust in their body to, you know, get through the endurance levels in the heat. Means they're going to be able to last even longer when they come back to England, which is normally obviously cold apart from the last couple of days. So the cooling towels are all on for them. The hydration will be key. It's really interesting to see. I think the stats vest that all the players wear these days give them that, you know, the stats, the data about how players are coping in these kind of scenarios and managing the minutes that certain players get as well in terms of where they want to plan out the pre-season campaign. I think it'll probably be already very much planned in which players are going to get minutes when, and obviously with a little bit of flexibility, but it's really interesting to see. I find it fascinating how they manage them through the pre-season training, the formations, the switch-ups, the players that are used in positions maybe that we haven't seen before. So it's all about training, practicing and building up to starting the Premier League season on a high and hitting the ground running as soon as we get there.
played 25, but 2 to 3 minute break. So.
Eso es importante, eso es fundamental. Tenemos esta pausa de hidratación también, el colegiado que afortunadamente respira, yo creo que es necesaria para todo el mundo.
Veremos si luego el colegiado mete caña con el descuento, pero sí, hemos parado en el 22 y nos vamos a volver en el 26. Veremos cuál es el alarga, porque el otro día se lo en el Salé. Vamos a intentar Catalanes por club, los 30 segundos de club.
Vamos a ver los futbolistas del Levante y del Deportiva ya preparados para la sesión de instrucciones de Roger Bruin, con el 27 a la espalda.
En principio sin cambios, está todo, salvo que haya algún tipo de incidencia, todo bastante planificado, uno en la primera, uno en la segunda, y habrá algún jugador que otro que tenga por la posibilidad.
So back underway. It will be interesting to see how long some of these players play. And Dendonka, Daniel Podence played 45 minutes each last night, so they may well be likely to come off at some point. Conor Ronan didn't feature, neither did Gerson Mosquera last night, so they may well get much longer spell. Gibbs White played, around about an hour. Hugo Bueno didn't feature last night, so he may well stay on for quite a while.
Yeah, I think it'll be just that rotation, won't it? You'll be interested to see if, obviously, I think Johnny, Aït-Nouri, Neves, Moutinho, Jimenez, Neto had a decent amount of minutes last night, probably 70-odd minutes, so I think they'll be maybe potentially rested today. Maybe they might get a little snippet for the last 10-15. It depends where they're at in their, their training program to build up their match fitness.
That's a bad pass, but nothing that you need to be concerned with.
There's Mark Pupil on that right hand side. Bueno's throw. Dendonka looked to be caught. Referee's happy enough for it to continue, and smashed over the top by Roberto Soldado.
Nearly reached the pool, that one.
Hairline's not even worse. He was one of those ones that they bought for loads of money with Gareth Bellman, and he was shit. Opa! What on earth happened there? Big noise for a little lady.
Corbeau's disappeared into the behind the pole. I'm guessing it's a throw-in.
He ends up getting clamped in the corner by some fella, don't we? You won't see.
Both together, one of you.
Clean
Dan,
shirt.
go next to Dio.
I had a clean
Together.
shirt. Clean.
Morgan. In front, Morgan, to him.
Podence trying to lift the ball into the danger zone. Nobody quite there. Kundal trying to put some pressure on, as will Gibbs White. Totti's header. This is Gonzalo Melero. It's worked nicely. Herrera carrying the ball forwards. Support from Soldado. Blocked off as Salvador tried to have an effort goalwards. Again, an absolute crunching challenge that was late to be picked up on by the officials.
Yeah, they've been physical throughout this first half so far, haven't they? And I think the final three of the front three of Wolves are bearing the brunt really on this one.
The local prison league.
Wolves trying to get things moving, not a bad cross in. Might come to Corbeau, just misjudged it. Gibbs White. Again he's clipped, and Wasn't a free kick with in a decent area.
Yeah, it's good to see Conor Ronan there break through onto the right hand side, get a good ball into the box as well.
Well, we appear to have lost sound from Spain for just a moment. We will try and reconnect that for you. They've been having some issues, and obviously you've been hearing plenty that's been going on. "31 minutes played. Conor Ronan to deliver the ball in. Bodies flying everywhere. And Donker was trying to pick out Podence. Didn't quite do so, but he makes amends with halting the Levante counter-attack. Ronan working hard, trying to apply pressure. That's a good ball over the top, and the flag has stayed down. An opportunity for Levante, and it's taken. Roger Martí Salvador with the goal. Wolves looked desperately to the officials for a flag to go up that never came. And Salvador kept his nerve and put Levante in front.
Yeah, decent space in between the centre-backs then. Gomez, I'm not sure. Obviously, we've got no angle here to tell whether it would have been offside or not. We've not got the perspective, but there was plenty of space in there in behind. Whether it's to do with Conor Ronan had pushed on into the front three and he ended up harassing up there, and bit of a gap in the midfield, slightly out of position maybe, but
it's a good finish in the end. First real clear-cut chance that either side has crafted in the half an hour of this practice game.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that Levante have clearly been keeping it very tight at the back. There's players everywhere. I think we're finding it really difficult to find any space in the final third, but there was plenty of space for them there, and obviously they're playing fairly direct as well, so got plenty of space to finish the shot. Got in behind our back two there between Totti and Collins, but again, it's practice games, practice moments, practice combinations, so they'll recover and go again. I imagine once we get to the second half, we'll be looking at maybe some subs coming into play as well.
Yeah, there are what you would refer to as the more senior players, and things are getting really heated here. There's been quite a few challenges that have gone in, and the referee has got a red card out. And for a practice game, this has been taken very seriously.
I think it was slightly behind the pole from obviously where we are. We didn't quite get the perspective of it, but I think there was a fairly physical challenge coming on Mosquera, but I don't know whether something's escalated following that challenge on Mosquera, which is how it pretty much looks looking at the ref's position.
You can see he has his red card out, just out of your picture. Quite a few players getting involved there. And a lot needed to try and calm the situation down. See Ruben Neves and Max Kilman, João Martinho and Nelson Semedo amongst those who got involved. Johnny as well, maybe trying to translate for some of his teammates to exactly what's going on. And a red card each. And things still haven't calmed down fully.
Is that for Gibbs White?
Couldn't see out of our picture whether it was for Gerson Mosquera who'd been dragged away. But Levante are clearly fuming, still trying to gather round the officials. There's Jose Sá in the bottom of your picture come to get involved.
They're still not happy, are they?
I've shoved them back underneath, so they might be gone now, but that's there, they were there.
¿Is there anything bad? Acabadísimo Bardi. Yo creo que están hablando los dos cuerpos técnicos ahí con el área, opiniones, sacan
I mean, given there's match officials, I don't think they're in a position where they can, you know, ride it out. He has to play it as soon as you've appointed referees. They play it like a normal game, despite the fact that it is behind closed doors training game. But
yeah, well, in certain circumstances, you would maybe expect the referee to suggest that those two players are removed.
Yeah.
And both sides can get on with it with 11. I think the number 10 for Levante had only just come on if he was actually on the field in the first place. Because it was Enis Bardi, who's not one of those who'd started. But say players came running on from everywhere.
It's definitely in reaction to something that's it's an off the ball circumstance. I think there was definitely a challenge in there, and I think it's whatever's come after that, a little bit of afters, and obviously both players involved. It looks like one of each have been sent off. I think it looked like he'd walked towards Gibbs White, but a bit unclear. The ref's back right off into his centre circle.
So quite what exactly happened there, we do not know. But things appear to have calmed down somewhat. Johnny's still patrolling around on that halfway line. You can see Ruben Neves there with a towel wrapped around him, not exactly prepared to come on at any point. Looks like he's just literally on his holidays.
They're having a lovely time. I think Johnny's in his flip-flops, so I don't think I think he had 70, nearly 80 minutes yesterday. So
well, there is Morgan Gibbs-White, look. So I'm pretty sure it would have been Gerson Mosquera who got the card. Where he's been taken to, we don't know, because the camera hasn't been able to show us.
And the referees are certainly having a discussion. The referee and the assistant linesman maybe are having a discussion somewhere, because we can see one on the far side of the pitch, but the other two officials have disappeared from the centre circle. I imagine they're having a conversation on the touchline with the coaching staff.
Well, that's Roberto Soldado. You might recognise him, 37 years of age now. Been there, seen it, done it. Probably seen a couple of on-pitch fights before in his time.
I think the common point, you need to get back to it, it's a training game. They've certainly been physical throughout that first half, particularly like in the final third, and pretty aggressive in the way that they've defended the game. A few physical tackles flying in, but I think Mosquera was on the end of a couple of nasty tackles in that game as well, and maybe he wasn't getting the protection he thought.
Well, I think it's fair to say there's definitely been an edge to this fixture so far, and it boiled over in the heat of the Spanish sun.
Looks like the Wolves players are resetting, like ready to go, but we'll see how we'll set up now. This might be reverting to a back four maybe.
Well, as you can see, it is officially a Wolves free kick. After all of that,
I think we could just about see the challenge on Mosquera, and it definitely looked like a free kick to Wolves at that, but obviously something's gone on afterwards.
so our Spanish host broadcasters unfortunately show us much and didn't show us a replay either. Long and short of it is that both sides are down to 10 players.
pasa es que ya arriba del esférico.
Justin Mosquera sent off and removed from the action. Corbanu going to ground.
El Levante lo que portera desde atrás, manteniendo el esquema.
La pena además Adrián es que nos ha matado un poco ese momento. Siempre hablamos del poder del gol que tanto le gusta decir a Javi Pérez. Ese plus que te da, ese punch, ¿no? Que te da como Diana.
Daniel Podence trying to capitalise on a little mistake. Here he is again, drifting his way into the penalty area, pulling back towards Kundal. And the goalkeeper did just enough to deny him.
It's a great play from Podence, isn't it? Driving through, gliding through the defence there. Great pull back to Kundal. I think he was just slightly ahead of him. Couldn't quite get his toe to it to finish it off. But a bit of positivity there. I think with one less player on the pitch, they might find a little bit more space in there. Maybe it looks like a tight pitch, but it'd be interesting to see how we set up. I would think maybe they'll look to make some changes in the second half. Might put a back two pairing on with a back four, flat back four.
Well, officially we only have a couple of minutes to go until half time, but whether they will try and keep playing with all those minutes that were lost whilst everything was sorted out after players piled on, and you saw all those players who weren't really involved, weren't expecting to be anywhere near the action, many of them wearing flip-flops and towels around their necks. On a slightly related note, you've got to admire the unity of some of those players as well for going on and getting involved.
Yeah, definitely, and that's
standing up for each other.
Yeah, that's what these pre-season trips are about, isn't it? Is the building the bond, the team spirit as well. I've seen little bits on Instagram, a bit of dancing from Mosquera, I think, on the last clip that I saw, but
I don't think he'd be off dancing now wherever he is.
You'd possibly hope not.
That's a good ball from Ronan to pick out Kundal. Bueno closed down, and again strong challenges coming in from Levante.
I think that's one thing that maybe you'd say about Mosquera, knowing that he had quite a nasty injury last pre-season, that he's maybe sensitive a little bit to not wanting to get injured ready for the next campaign, and it's a tough time for players, isn't it, when they're trying to prove their point, and pre-season can make or break where they appear in the squad and whether they get loaned out still or whatever else happens. So I think he'd be wanting to prove a point and do his best, but possibly lost his head slightly in the aftermath of that tackle that was on him. But it was probably equally about a third or fourth physical challenge on him in this spell of the first half.
Ball's been pushed backwards, but Bueno's done well to turn and try and carry it forwards. Loses out to Salvador.
It's a great turn away from Bueno. Didn't quite get his pass away afterwards, but he's so tidy on the ball. Great player to watch.
Oh, it's all getting in trouble again, and the players rushing onto the field, and somebody needs to get control. Somebody needs to calm things down. There've been too many rash challenges from Levante that have come in on Wolves players, and the reactions have started to tell.
I think the key bit there is that the ball was nowhere near that position, so that's completely off the ball. Like Daniel Podence.
Well, more and more players are getting involved now. You see some wisely being pulled away. There's another couple of red cards being shown. Now this is silly. They're going down to 9 men aside, and they're blowing the whistle. Well, I mean, that's the end of the first half. Whether that's the end of the game or not, we do not know at this stage. Control has completely been lost here. It was supposed to be a friendly practice warm-up.
Yeah, I think as well when it's behind closed doors, you'd hope that they could probably manage. You know, there's no crowd that are instigating any atmosphere at all. It's, you know, it's between two squads of players that really are here to prepare for their next campaign. So it's not, you know, there shouldn't really be this level of edge in a behind closed door friendly. But hopefully they might have a chat between the coaches, see if they can reset for the second half.
Well, the officials seem to trying to get as far away as they possibly can here. There's Johnny still on the field. Man to the left of your screen is head of security who's got involved, and I think you can see he's seemingly suggesting we've had enough. We will try and get confirmation for you as to what is going on in Spain. I think there's many people who will be asking that very same question. This game was added relatively late to the schedule. A match that was simply supposed to be there to give an opportunity for some players to get some minutes into the legs who weren't going to be directly involved in the more glamorous Premier friendlies. But as you can see, things have spiralled somewhat, with a series of heavy challenges from Levante players that was doing its job almost in winding up some of the Wolves players, and eventually Gerson Mosquera reacted. That caused the first melee. Two players were shown red cards, Enis Bardi for Levante and Gerson Mosquera, who we haven't seen since. And then things continued. We saw a couple of late challenges on Bueno and Corbeanu, and then off the ball almost, the second melee was started right on 45 minutes. The referee's blown up, and I think the players are asking the question as to what are we going to do? Are we going to continue?
I mean, you can see some of the Levante players and officials are mingled in, having conversations about what didn't happen. But like you say, it's a bit disappointing for the players that maybe haven't had their minutes yet this pre-season, and you know, Hugo Bueno coming in for a start and wanting to get minutes in his legs, preparing. That's what they're here for, to play football. Obviously, they've got a few more games to come, but today's an opportunity.
Well, Bruno Lage is having a conversation here. I'll tell you what, whilst he does that, we'll play you an interview with the new man, Nathan Collins, and then we'll try and find out if we have a second half for you. Here's Nathan Collins talking to Gemma over on camp.
Nathan, welcome to the pack. It's brilliant to have you here. I mean, you've had a whirlwind couple of days flying out here to Spain on your first day as a Wolves player. Have you had the chance to sort of sit and take it all in yet?
No, I haven't really. It was full on from the day I've done my medical and then straight out over here to Spain. But since I've come in, I've really enjoyed it. You know, a couple of days has been really fun, and all the lads have been really welcoming so far. Yeah, how have these first few days been? I know they've been putting you to work in training. Yeah, training's been tough, and it's a tough standard. So I'm getting myself up to speed, but I've enjoyed it so far. It's been good. Well, what was it that convinced you to make the move here to Wolves? I think there was a lot in it. You know, I've played Wolves twice last season. I've seen a style of play, and I think it complements my style of play. You know, I've seen the team that's there, and I've seen that there's something to build on, and I think there's something to chase as well as a team, and we have high aspirations, and I'm looking forward to the season really. Well, when you played Wolves back last season for Burnley, what were your new teammates like to play against back then? Yeah, we played them when I played them in the Molyneux. That was tough game, really tough game. You know, they played us off the park really, but then obviously it was a different game when we played at home. But they were a tough team. We probably didn't deserve to win, but we got a result somehow. But yeah, tough team to play against, and really hard when they're on their day. They're a really good team. So of course you've now just finished your first season in the Premier League. Do you feel you've adapted well now to this level? I think in the first season, yeah. I think it took me a few games to get up to speed, but by the end of the season, I was really enjoying myself, you know, and I love the standard. I love playing against the players. It's one of the best leagues in the world easily, and every player wants to play in it, so I really enjoy the challenge of it as well. Well, you've signed for 5 years. What do you hope to achieve over that period of time with Wolves? Don't know, honestly. trying to get over the first few days here, but no. Even this season, I want to push for Europe. I think that as a group, we all want that. You know, I think that should be the minimum of what we want to push for. But if we do that, and then we can push on again and keep getting better as a team over the next 5 years.
Did you know any of your teammates before you flew out here and met them in Spain?
Only Conor Ronan, to be fair. I've played with him a few times with Ireland in the international, so only him.
Was it nice to see a familiar face?
Yeah, he was good. He helped me out. He helped me out to start with, so it was good to see someone.
Oh, that's good. Well, of your teammates that you didn't know, is this a nice setting now to sort of get to know them a little bit better, not only train together, but get to spend some time with them socially?
I think so. I think it was better to come in here now for the camp, you know, stay away with them. Like, no one else has talked to us there other than the lads, so I think it's the best chance to get to know them.
And then before you did fly out here, you obviously had a very brief visit to Compton Park, where our training ground is. You got to meet some of the staff. What were your sort of first impressions?
No, it was good. I really enjoyed it. You know, everyone's so welcoming. It looks like a really well-run club, and the standard of training ground is really high. And I can't wait to get back there again and start training again.
Well, I'm sure it'll go really quickly out here in Spain, and then it's only a couple of weeks until the season starts as well. So, are you excited for it to all restart again?
Yeah, I can't wait. I need to get back playing football. I've missed it over the break. You know, the Premier League was one of the best, and I really enjoyed the challenge of it. So I want to get back playing as soon as.
Well, the fans are also looking forward to seeing you out on that pitch. Do you have a message for the Wolves fans now that you're here with us?
Yeah, just once they support me, I'll give 100% on the pitch every day of the week. Like, that's all I can ask for.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, and all the best.
Thank you.
Out at camp, as you can see, there are some players kicking a ball around, but we have been watching pictures of a lot of stuff being packed up, so it might well be that both teams are just going to have a bit of a training session from here on in. We are still waiting for any official confirmation from Spain that the game has been abandoned. Both sides down to 9 men after a tumultuous first half. Let's hear an interview with one man who might well have just been sent off at the end of that half, Daniel Podence, who's also been catching up with Gemma out in Spain.
Daniel, thank you for joining me down at the pool. It's not a bad place to spend the afternoon, but I won't keep you too long. Before we talk a little bit about how things have been going here in Spain, firstly, a huge congratulations are in order. You got married this summer. Has it been a really special sort of off-season for you this year?
Yeah, it was a different one, but I think the most special until now. I'm 26 and has been so good having my off-season with my family, with my friends, keeping really close during those times, because we had to do the arrangements to the wedding. It was amazing to have the people around me, and of course having the time to enjoy, and then to prepare myself to the pre-season. It was just unbelievable because everything got together, and for me it was the first time in my life, and I just really happy because of it.
I mean, it looked absolutely beautiful. I mean, was it a really special day? It looked stunning. We've seen all the photos and videos on Instagram.
Yeah, it's 1 month now, and I've been posting. I mean, not every day, but a lot in my Instagram, and I don't get tired because I really enjoy watching videos from my wedding, seeing photos, and I want to keep posting. And I'm still waiting for photos and videos, and I can't surpass that day because it was something else. And even my friends, even here, João, Nelson, Pedro, they are telling it's amazing. Now careful, because the next party has to be much better.
That's good, yeah.
And will not be easy.
You've set the expectations now,
Yeah.
yeah. So your teammates came along to the wedding as well? That's really
Yes,
nice.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Some of them, and Patricio is not here, but Fabio and people from staff, they were there, and that's why I said to you, was the first time I had even friends from football, friends from my private life, and my family all together doing a good party, having a good time together. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nice for it all to come together. Where did you go for the honeymoon as well? That looked amazing too. The wedding wasn't good enough, the honeymoon was amazing.
I was in Tanzania, an island very special in Africa, and me and my wife now. It's difficult to understand now.
Yeah, keep calling her your wife.
She's my wife. But was very, very, very good week. And then we came here to Spain straight. But was an unbelievable week. We did everything we could there to relax, to enjoy the time, the week together, just us, and was very, very good.
It looks amazing. Did you go on a safari while you were there?
No. We wanted, but we had no time because we had only 9-10 days to start the preseason, and I wanted to relax, to come here and improve myself and to be prepared. So, but safari, it's in our mind next time.
You still packed in a lot into those few weeks, but a huge congratulations to you and the new Mrs. Podence. But we are now here in Spain. Been here for a week now. How's things been?
Hard, very hard, because we are training twice in a day, and the sun, the trainings are very, very hard. The coach are pushing us to be in a good mood, improving our performance during the training, to be on a very good performance to the games, and has been very, very hard. But that's good because we are preparing to perform well, and I think it's the right thing to do at the moment, to push ourselves to the limit, and then we can enjoy during the match playing together. So I think it's hard, but has to be like that.
Yeah. It's all the hard work's going to be worth it once the season starts. Are you looking forward to the season restarting? It's only a couple of weeks away now. It's going to come around really quick.
Yeah, I'm really nervous because it's always a mix of feeling. You want to play, but it's the first two weeks of the season, and you want to play really well because you have to start in a high level. And for me, individual, I didn't play so much in the last part of the season, and I want to start very well. And I'm doing in terms of getting it, but it's difficult because we can manage we have to manage our mentally and physically to be in the right mood.
Yeah. Well, all the best for the pre-season friendlies this week. Thank you very much for coming down and speaking to us. We'll let you go because you've got, I know, another training session this evening and you've got some resting to do.
And another nap.
Yeah. Get you out of the sun. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So here we go. We are back underway. We have a game again. And we are told that we are back up to 11 aside. So bear with us while we try and work out who's playing again and what has happened. I think Dexter Lembakisa is on as far as Wolves are concerned. Willy Bolly, you can see, is on there in the bottom of your picture. Joe Hodge has also been introduced to the action, as has Harvey Griffiths. So Wolves keen to give some of the youngsters some minutes. That was one of the most unusual 45 minutes, well, about 32 minutes I think we actually played in that first half. Football, maybe everyone's got together and had a bit of time to calm down and say, right, the whole reason we're playing this game is to try and get some fitness into some players' legs. So let's stop kicking each other, or mainly Levante, if you can stop kicking us, that would be really appreciated. And maybe we can just have a game of football. So we are back underway, Claire Hakeman. I mean, I've commentated in fog last season, which was one of the more unusual things I've ever seen go on in a football pitch. That was not quite what you expect from pre-season.
No, definitely not. I don't think you don't really expect to see any level of dispute. I mean, it's just off the fact that obviously both were off the ball incidents as well, pretty much. First one in reaction to a tackle, but 3-4 sendings off, we think. Yes, it was a crazy 10 minutes there. Maybe it's the heat getting to everybody, but great that they've reset and sorted it out in terms of getting it back onto an 11v11. I don't think either side would find it very productive having 9v9. As much as you'd practice that, it's not something that would occur frequently at all. So good to see the players back out on the pitch and going again for this second half.
Richard has just reminded me on Twitter that I did put out a warning before the game about the microphone positions and that you might hear a bit of swearing before the game. And simply putting, you were worried about a bit of swearing on the stream being the biggest thing to tell people about as to what they were going to expect from this morning's game. It was bueno. Not the fact that we couldn't actually see corners of the pitch. Levante's players would be doing some UFC tactics rather than normal FC Football Club tactics.
Yeah, it's not quite what you normally expect to see in a pre-season friendly, the level of physicality that we were seeing in that first half, but
at this stage of pre-season as well.
Yeah, early on. I mean, nobody wants an injury, right, for either side, but yeah, it was tasty at points.
I mean, I get that they got relegated last year and they might have some players trying to make an impact, but when you talk about making an impact, it's a metaphorical impact, not a physical impact. Goodness me.
For sure, and I think the incidents probably were driven by the fact that the Wolves players were not happy with how physical the game was, and it's not something you expect at pre-season at this stage, like you said. So hopefully this will be a calmer, more productive half for Wolves.
So anyway, the long and short of it is that Wolves are 1-0 down technically. Connor Cody amongst those on the field now. I think Saturday's game against Besiktas will hopefully be a touch quieter back at the Camila Kano Stadium. And then Villarreal B here at Malia Villatana on Sunday morning before the players fly home. Volley, big strong figure, keeps hold of possession. Griffiths. Wasn't a bad ball, looking for the run of Lembakisa. So I say, first and foremost, from a Wolves point of view, it's interesting to see the formations. 4 at the back last night. Seems like continuing with 5 at the back through this game. Will keep people guessing, questioning how will Wolves line up away at Leeds on the 6th of August, which is getting ever closer.
Yeah, I think it's always a bit of a guessing game, and I think every fixture is different. And I think Bruno's been pretty good at mixing up the formation specific to the team that we're playing against as well. So I think that'll totally be considered. I believe we played a lot of four at the back last pre-season, but obviously our first game last season we went back into 5 at the back, so there's no particular telling. I think it's just getting players in the right positions and personnel and seeing who can do what where and best combinations for each particular game.
So you're watching Wolves against Levante from Wolves TV. We had numerous sendings off in the first half, 2 major melees, potential game abandonment, bizarre back pass decision.
It was bizarre from start to finish, wasn't it, really? I mean, in effect, this should be 0-0 marker. I think we should push for that. It's a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean, Levante scored a very good goal, but probably the only actual bit of football that they created in the first half. And that was just a long ball over the top. Wolves might have been a touch distracted at the time. Griffiths back to Bolly.
Harvey, play in the middle, don't come, F3.
Cody in possession.
Outside, you play inside.
Now Willy Bolly.
To the man. Go.
I would say nobody would try and mess with Willy Bolly, but I wouldn't have thought anyone would try and mess with Gerson Mosquera, to be honest, and that didn't particularly go well for Levante.
Hopefully it's going to be a game of 2 halves, Mikey.
Sunday's game, by the way, against Villarreal B may well feature shorter halves, we're told, so just to let you know for that if you are joining us to watch it for free on YouTube. So it's why these practice matches are free. The official friendlies all available on Wolves TV and via Facebook.
And it was a great start, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah, really impressive.
Great to see so many Wolves fans there in the crowd as well. Really positive display, some good goals in there, and you know that's the key, isn't it?
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, goodness me.
It's so cynical.
Well,
good to see they're learning,
no
Mikey.
Need for that, yeah.
Wow.
Joe Hodge did brilliantly. The turn away from his man and then just crudely dragged down to the floor.
It's a tough gig for the ref, this one. That's a fact. It's a great turn from Hodge. So lively, great player on the ball.
So let's hope we don't see any more of that. Otherwise tempers will flare again. Bolly boards Hodge in field.
Go, one of these, go in.
Levante seemed to have a team for the second half that we were told was going to start the game. It's all been fun and games until someone gets properly hurt, of course, and nobody wants to see that.
It was obviously their second half team sheet, wasn't it? Must have given us the wrong one.
Lost in translation.
That's it.
Maybe just the side that started the game had to start because they're all under police curfew in Spain. They need to be home by midday Spanish time. Corbeanu. Wolves, to their credit, still moving the ball when they can.
It's just making that little the ball stick in the final third. It seems to have been more of the challenge in this game as a whole for Wolves, but like we said before, the combinations are always different, and we've got another, a completely different front three on now, so it's kind of to be expected. And we're testing combinations that work for different games, and this is people getting their minutes as well, so it's not to be forgotten that it's a practice game. It's behind closed doors.
Georgi Kotorosvili deciding not to try and remonstrate too strongly with Willy Bolly for that challenge. Wise move. Here's Connor Cody. And we've had nearly 11 minutes without a red card. Note that down, everyone.
You're flying now. Interesting to see this combination, isn't it? Now with Willy Bolly, Cody, Collins at the back.
Everybody keen to see what kind of connections are made.
Yeah, I think it's tough for a new player coming into the camp, isn't it? And obviously pretty established. The rest of the players have been here for a while.
It's a little bit loose for Collins, but Hodge did well enough just to force Levante backwards. So there are quite a few players, by the way, if you missed the coverage last night, that are not available yet. They're on tour. So Nelson Semedo, Adama Traore, Hee-Chan Huang, all not quite able to feature just yet.
Winger! Inside winger!
I think in Semedo, certainly in Semedo and Traore's case, they may well not feature at all on this Spanish trip. In fact, no, Semedo definitely won't.
Yeah, I think he's a way off, isn't he? So unfortunate, really, because you kind of consider after his season last season that he'd be, you know, one to start in the starting 11. I think he grew as the season went on as well, so it'll be a big miss to start the season.
Well, another change from Levante. 28 is Alex Munoz. There was another that Levante told us was going to start.
He was definitely going to be on the pitch at some point. I think that was the... It's not the lineup, it's on the pitch at some point.
58 minutes in.
He's turned up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the bus was late.
Yeah, it could be that.
Could have been the issue.
No, Joe! Do!
This is better work. Son, that's someone's elbow. There's a dangerous ball in, and Wolves doing just about enough to try and get it clear. Danger not fully over. It's a great strike and it's a great finish. And Levante have a second goal. Wolves didn't quite deal with it. And in the end, it's smashed home. Nothing Jackson Smith could do. And Levante have two.
Yeah, it wasn't the best defending, I don't think. We've headed it back into the mix and put Hugo Bueno in a difficult position where he's tried to hook it away, and good closing down from Nathan Collins, but obviously a decent strike in there, and to be fair, it's a great finish.
It's a great strike.
Yeah. The keeper's never saving that, I don't think, but I think just the initial moments we could have probably dealt with it a little bit better, but
I say, results don't tend to matter, especially not in practice games. It is nice when Wolves play well, but this is far from a Wolves strong lineup, has to be said. I don't think anybody should get too concerned at the way things have gone this morning. This is it's supposed to be a glorified training session.
yeah, 100%. I mean, you can see some of the Wolves players walking there behind the goal. I think you've got quite an inexperienced front pairing at the moment by the looks of it in Kundal and Corbeanu, so it's a bit of a surge forward from Collins there. It was a bit Kilman-esque from yesterday until he started to get towards the corner flag, but good to see him. He's confident on the ball, isn't he, Collins? I quite like the look of him. I think he's got obviously the stature and the height of a classic centre-back, but pretty tidy on the ball as well, so he's been quite impressed with what I've seen so far.
Kilmania was running wild last night.
Unreal, what a goal that was. I mean, I think it was the fact that you realised how far it came from. It was the power and the surge. I mean, he's a brilliant player, isn't he? So you kind of expect nothing less, but even so, that is a great run finish and a lot of composure to finish it off in the end. But yeah, he's a big player for us this season. I think he broke through last year and was superb, and just a bit unfortunate he missed out towards the end through injury, but expecting more big things from Kilman this year.
Yeah. Forget Hulkamania. Maximilian Kilmania running wild all over Premier League defences this year. Oh, if he scores one like that in a proper game.
Oh, Is the futsal in him? Has anyone mentioned that? I think it's, you know,
I was quite
so
proud,
tidy.
I was quite proud of myself.
Did you not mention it?
No.
Did you not? It's like Max Kilman bingo.
I mean, you know, far from it for me to shy away from any type of cliche.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
Commentary bingo, but
Little pun.
no, me and Tomo have a rule: we don't talk about it. Leave that to everybody else. Kundal. Pretty rough challenge from Butcherasvili.
Getting a bit of protection from the referee there.
I wonder if both sides had a word with the referee at half time as well and said, look, you've got to be in control of this. We can talk to our players. Local officials. Here's Lembakisa. Collins getting a long stint here. Griffiths. Hodge. Tidy player, Joe Hodge. Is it back from Bueno? He and Griffiths well known to each other. And time at Manchester City together before they both came to Wolves last summer.
Both integral, weren't they, in the under-23s as well, the campaign towards the end. Brilliant players, both of them.
Danny Gomez was the Levante man chasing, but it'll be a Wolves free kick. Yeah, both actually really highly thought of by Man City in terms of, you know, it wasn't like they were getting rid of them because they didn't rate them. They simply have such an array of talent coming through in the youth levels that it was decided that it was better off for the players' development more than anything to allow them to come to a club like Wolves, who have a good relationship at youth level with City, sign players from them before, and allow them to go on and try and develop themselves. Conor Ronan and Totti are going to rejoin us. Nathan Collins gone off, Dendonka going off, so just a bit of a break. Extra long half-time period for Totti and Ronan.
I imagine it's breaking it up in the heat as well, isn't it? I mean, obviously Conor didn't feature yesterday, did he? But good opportunity for him to get minutes either side of the half.
Really pleased for him to be back involved in amongst the first team picture. He is one of the nicest young lads you could ever meet.
And he had a brilliant season, didn't he, at St Mirren? I think everything that you read about him and some of the goals he scored were fantastic. So, you know, so much ability there.
Well, ever since he broke through into the under-18s, having moved down to the Midlands, he's had such incredible talent. Everybody knew it. He and Morgan Gibbs-White and Brighton Abakare were the standouts of that under-18 side. And everyone knew it was Conor that drove it. He was the leader of that group as well. Not a huge talker, but the kind of player that led by example. Here comes Corbeanu, trying to make something happen for Wolves. Corbeanu, I think, was going for goal, and that might well have gone into a particularly delicate area.
Oh, it's unlucky because that's, you know, a position where the ball was rebounding out, and we're, you know, it's the first time you've seen us really drive into that penalty area. So
I think that's Sergio Postigo, who has had a Theo Corbeanu power effort. Looks like
I think
the physio might have injured himself running there as well.
The physio's popped his calf on the way out as well, so it's all going well today.
Oh, that looks painful.
It was a decent bit of power behind that.
Oh, it makes me feel ill.
I'd say I've not got much sympathy, but, you know, it feels a bit harsh.
Yeah, anyway, Conor Ronan, whilst Levante player gets a certain area checked over. Yeah, lovely kid, came through, obviously got quite a serious injury, having not long broken through, and then was obviously, by the time he gets fit, there's a new head coach, a new style of system which didn't necessarily suit him, and the club signs certain Ruben Neves. So good luck trying to get into the team then. And he's been here, there and about, and tried to get him good loan moves, but because of the size and style of player he is, it's very easy to take him out of the lineup and go for a more physical player in the lower levels of English football. It's why when he went out and played in Europe, he had a great deal more success in Slovakia and then in Switzerland.
Yeah, I think you look at, like you say, his stature and stuff, but you look at João Moutinho and, you know, it's totally possible. And the fact that he's still with us, he's 24, but, you know, he's still here and considered as part of the squad. And the fact that he's obviously made the tour, it tells you that they're really considering him as a potential. But I imagine that's what this pre-season's about, isn't it? That you've got a lot of fringe players in there, some 23s that have moved up as well, and it's an opportunity for Bruno to see them in this environment, see how they work around the squad. And I imagine there will still be some players going out on loan off the back of the pre-season, and maybe there will be some players coming in, and maybe a couple going out as well. But it's how it rolls for every club this pre-season. But Conor Ronan, you really just impressed by him and the way that he comes on and gets on with his job, and you know, he's still very much a Wolves player as well. So great to be seeing him get this opportunity to play with the boys and see how he gets on this period.
Well, Conor Ronan, he's never been flash. He's a really good kid. He's settled down. You know, a lot about his family life, and parents have always been really important to him. I remember his dad posted such a lovely emotional message after he made his debut for the first team at Nottingham Forest a good couple of years ago, about just what it meant to them as an entire family, really, and the sacrifices that they'd made and that Conor had made. And, you know, last time I really spoke to him in depth, he'd just come back from one of his loan spells a couple of years ago and got his new contract, and the club effectively created a Loan Player of the Year award, the end of season awards, to recognise, you know, what he'd done really in that season. And as you say, Claire, his contributions to St Mirren was impressive, and if Wolves are to switch to slightly different formation and way of playing, that means that he could potentially come back into the reckoning as a squad player. I think he would never shy away from doing anything the club has asked him to do. Maybe this isn't his opportunity, maybe it won't work out for him, but you can never say that he's never given absolutely everything he has to try and make a career for himself at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you have to respect that.
Yeah, totally. And I think the fact that, you know, people talk about maybe not so many signings as people might have hoped for, but you've got players like Gibbs White coming back off the back of a massively successful loan spell at Sheffield United, and for us it could be like a new signing, so you don't know, like you say, best fit, right moment, right time. I think there's so much luck involved in professional football these days that, you know, timing of injuries can make or break people's careers. So and maybe things won't work out for them at a particular point, and probably rings true a little bit the way Conor Cody came to Wolves, you know, with his story. So in terms of loan moves that he previously had, and he wasn't convinced that maybe Wolves might be the right move for him, but it's just a look at the draw at that particular point in time. And I think lots of these players are integral, and the fact that Wolves do create quite a family feel and do look after their players pretty well as well. So really excited to see what the season holds for Wolves.
So officially 20 minutes to go of this practice game.
I think we're owed 10 minutes from the first half, I'd say, in you know, if we're going to go for time played.
Did the first half happen? I don't know.
It is only 1-0 at the moment.
Someone's checked on Gerson Mosquera. Oh, he's calmed down yet.
He'll have a cooling towel on. He'll be fine.
Someone go and get him in that swimming pool sharpish. I think there are some fans staying in the hotel now. It's a pretty big complex, but all the swimming pools are there. Players have been enjoying themselves. Some of them hired a boat at the weekend. One main day off. A few went go-karting.
A few flamingos as well in the pool, I noticed. Gemma Frith was on pumping up duty of those, but it always looks horrible, doesn't it, those elements of pre-season. Then you see them running and working really hard and you realise it's not, you know, it's definitely no holiday.
Yeah. training and playing games in the heat. That was a late challenge.
Corner! Corner! Let's go! Let's go!
I'm told it is officially 33 degrees in Alicante, but feels like 39 degrees, according to the weather apps.
We're used to that kind of weather here these days, so.
So imagine trying to play a game of football in the weather that we had on Monday and Tuesday.
Unreal.
That's what they're doing now. Normally, training would have finished an hour ago, and they've been having a bit of lunch and then messing around in the swimming pool. Here come Levante, trying to capitalise and look for a third. Bolli did just enough in the end, applied the pressure on Alejandro Cantero.
Yeah, I think that
Cody involved.
Came from a misplaced pass from Totti on the halfway line, and recovery runs, but well done Cody and Bolli getting in and around it while Totti made his way back into the back three. But you can see tiredness, can't you? You can see them dropping to their knees just slightly. It's hot. Its humidity levels, I imagine, will be crazy as well. So lots of hydration is key.
There's a hustle and bustle. Quite a few players involved, waiting to make their runs. Struck back into the group of bodies, and tamely behind for a goal kick. A few more subs, I think, are going to be made. For anyone who's not been aware of kind of how these trips work as well, they're an hour ahead, so they'll have finished the game about 9 or just after last night, and then some of them will have had a bit of a warm down and obviously a shower and get changed, and by the time they get back to the hotel, probably would have been a long time after 10, and then the players have to eat, they have to refuel, and it's all carbs. So, it's pizza, it's chicken, it's curries, it's all sorts of things. And it's not always, listen, for me, it's easy to eat that kind of stuff at that time of night, but the athletes have to pile it back in and then try and get some sleep.
I imagine it's the toughest when it's a kind of mid-morning kick-off, maybe a lunchtime kick-off, and they're eating like pasta for breakfast, I think. I always find that it must be like, oh, yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it, the food of a footballer when it's carbs and pizza, but not at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's a fact. But it's interesting the amount of work that goes into, like, obviously the nutrition is just crazy. Right time to eat, types of food.
It's Kundal. Bueno. The grip on his shirt from Pablo Martinez. Wolves have continued to try and work it. Something's happened just out of picture.
I reckon it's a free kick, and it was a foul, quite a physical foul from Levante.
You can see one of our Wolves media team is filming it down there behind the goal, so
or a throw-in.
It was on social media later, might be that one of the highlights.
Oh,
free kick. Someone just pausing from their round of golf in the background.
It's a hard life, isn't it?
Move!
Well, the ball is delivered in, and it's too high a delivery. Totti trying to keep things alive. He's done well, actually.
Yeah, he has.
Lifted back into the danger zone. Bolli's header a long way high and wide.
I guess it was Conor Ronan on the free kick. I think it was pretty deep delivery, wasn't it? Shame we haven't really tested the keeper. I know these pre-season games are, tough. It's about getting the minutes in the body, but not a great deal happening in the final third. Not much interplay, but like you say, different combinations. Again, we've got another completely different front three on at the moment from the first half. So.
su intención, no era la de podía entender, cuando un miembro del coche de Levante podía entender que el árbitro
Son playing the ball back in field. Hodge with the charge down. Antonio Leal back to his goalkeeper. Number Kisa was closing in.
It's good to see some of the under-23s getting on the trip, isn't it? Probably a reward as well for how well they did last season. So Lembikisa, Bueno, Hodge, Kundal, Griffiths.
Yeah, Kundal made that step up to the first team last year, but continued to play for the under-23s, for the under-21s this coming season.
And gave so much to it, didn't he? So much energy. It was unreal. Scoring some great goals, lots of assists in there as well.
Hodge losing out. This is Pablo Martinez. Son in field. Pepelu switching the play. To give you an idea of how young some of these guys are, Harvey Griffiths was also eligible to play in the FA Youth Cup last year, part of the under-18s who got to the semi-finals, beaten by Manchester United.
You forget how young Hugo Bueno is, like 19, isn't he? He's a hell of a player here. Incredible when you think under 23s he was smashing it. He's 19. It's pretty impressive.
He did well in pre-season last year before he got injured, pulled his hamstring in the friendly away at Coventry. He scored 5 goals in the last 7 appearances for the under-23s last season.
And some assists in there as well, wasn't there? I mean, his crossing mobility is superb as well, like really making things happen. And also in big pressure games, there are some pressure games to finish up the season, but he was a real standout player in that period.
Spanish player born in Vigo, similar to Johnny, which is more northwestern Spain.
Testing my geography, Mikey.
Down here towards near Alicante and Benidorm on the southeast. Levante are pretty local. Alaves, last night's opponents, travelled down from the Basque region up the north, near Bilbao.
Nearly a shot on target from that header, wasn't it? The volley. Great bit of distance.
Maybe we can put it down on one.
I think we'll count that off target.
Everyone's claiming the stats from this practice game. Volley's header forwards. Harvey Griffiths getting the free kick. Things have been relatively calm second half, has to be said. Would have been a shame to have abandoned the game at half time.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's lost minutes, isn't it? Although obviously it's a practice game, it's not, you know, the scoreline's not so important, and it's about people getting minutes on the pitch in positions, but you don't want to lose minutes for people either over the period. It will be very much planned out to why they've added games at certain points, and making sure some of these fringe players, maybe the players that have come back in off loan, and the under-23s get to mingle with some of the natural known first team starters.
Might explain also why some of the players who were listed as being subs for Wolves decided not to bother risking them, likes of Neves and Matinho and Johnny.
I think that's totally understandable, isn't it, in, you know, a game that was pretty heated as well in the first half.
Yeah, Jimenez as well. I might see them for a couple of minutes, but not expected. Kundal to Hodge. Again, crude challenges coming in. That was Pepelu.
It's just an absolute kick out, isn't it, as well? Like, with no intention. Didn't even know they're not going to win the ball. Just have a big swipe.
And Bakisa couldn't quite squeeze it through to Theo Corbeanu.
Great feat to get himself in that position. He's, you know, got a bit of flair to him, Lembekisa, but just couldn't quite get the pass away.
Joe, go on, Joe! Go on, Joe! Don't affect him, Joe! Don't affect him! You go, the back here, 2v1.
It's not a bad delivery in. No, brilliant header. Superb header. What a delivery in. Inviting. And it's a brilliant finish. Wolves get themselves one back late on. Such a great delivery in there. The power from the header of Totti, and goalkeeper couldn't keep it out.
It's a bullet header, isn't it? Fantastic, great delivery. Really rose to it as well, met it at the right point, keeper had no chance. Fantastic finish that. Straight up to the Wolves TV camera in the corner, I think, for his little celebration.
Here we go! Go on, Theo! Time up! Make him kick it! Here we go!
Tony Roberts, the goalkeeper coach, trying to encourage.
Yeah, I think he just pulled him there, had him on the shoulder, I think. Like Griffiths.
Theo! Come on, Theo, I need you!
But no, there's not been a drinks break in this half either, has there?
I think there was a little,
was there one?
little pause. Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I think I was talking nonsense about Conor Ronan.
Oh, we're having a lovely chat about Conor. So let's see how we defend this one. It's been quite tight, hasn't it, in the box when we're defending free kicks from this angle. I think it's always the hardest position to defend from as a centre-back.
6 is Pablo Martinez, 29 is Johnny Montiel. It's Pablo to lift it in. Appeals for handball. Referee waved away any protest.
Come on, keep going, Connor.
6 minutes left to play. Levante trying to find themselves another goal to restore their advantage, but an excellent challenge by Willy Bolly.
It's classic Willy Bolly tackle, that, isn't it? Wins it when he really shouldn't, but great play.
That's brilliant by Ronan.
That'll do us.
Condell trying to get on with it. Ronan drawing the free kick.
Done well there under a lot of pressure, hasn't he, in a couple of occasions, Ronan. Really tidy on the ball as well. Kind of does everything simply.
I'd say the biggest difference in the couple of years that he's had away is how much he's kind of filled out. You know, he's strong now. He's 24 years old. He's still not tall, but you can see there's a little bit more physicality compared to, say, a Joe Hodge or a Luke Condell, who are a couple of years behind him in that sense.
Yeah, and you've got to have it, haven't you? You know, it's just not for the game. It's the training. You see players come in and really build up over the summer, but you saw Fabio probably in the last season really come on in terms of his strength. It's key. It's a massive component of the game.
It's the different level of conditioning when you've been in and around first teams for as long as he has. And he was the man putting pressure on again. A little bit more of a threat from Levante. Totti intercepting and finding Ronan. And referees decided, I think we've had enough. 4 minutes short. So we probably played about 32 minutes first half with all the melees and sendings off, and then an extra long half-time sequence where we didn't know whether we were definitely going to come and play again, and eventually we did, and both sides were restored to 11 each. And then we played 4 minutes short in the second half. But nevertheless, I mean, for a practice game, they got something out of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think at least they got the minutes in the second half. I think there's a lot of players there that hadn't featured yet or had only had minimal minutes maybe in last night's game that needed to get something under their belt. And Corbenu's played the whole game there, I think. So you've got players that needed those minutes to embed them within the squad and move on to the next game. But I think the referee was just so relieved there'd been no major incidents in the second half. He thought he'd call it a day at that point, but maybe it was agreed. Maybe it was agreed in the half-time interval when we thought it might be cancelled.
I mean, maybe he's just he only paid for parking up to a certain time.
Could totally be that. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's got to get going, or he's got a lunch booking in the hotel that he can't possibly miss. So Wolves beaten in the game, but it doesn't really matter a great deal, I think.
No, I think it's really key that we don't get carried away with whatever the result is, because I think it is what it is. I think the games where you've got a crowd in, I think it's a little bit different. There's a bit more of an edge. I think the crowd and the spectators maybe expect a little bit more. But in these kind of games, training games, I mean, it's lucky enough. Obviously, the Wolves TV is showing the game, because 9 times out of 10 we wouldn't actually be seeing this game happen. So it's been fantastic to see the figure. You get to see a few people in different positions. It is what it is. It's for practice. It's for adjusting to heat conditions. It's for players to get minutes in their legs. It's looking at different combinations that maybe at the back with a 3 or a 4, and maybe that top front 3 rotating people around into the position. So it's key. It's practice. The result is a minor point. It was a great finish by Totti, by the way, but. These are just practice games for us to get the minutes in the legs and really build the endurance of players.
And thank God we were showing this, because people might not have believed that some of it actually happened. That was one of the challenges that really angered Gerson Mosquera. I say it wasn't just one challenge. There was many challenges that angered the players, and so much seemed to have gone on. There was another one that clipped Morgan Gibbs-White. There was a challenge on Corbenu. This was the second goal for Levante. Doubled their lead. It was after we'd restarted with 11 aside. Theo Corbenu then whacked one into the delicate region of one of the Levante defenders. And eventually Totti climbed high to get Wolves a bit of a consolation. Who knows what might have happened in the 4 minutes we didn't get. Might have been a rousing turnaround. It could have been Villa away from last year.
We'd have totally equalised, that's for sure. We're missing those 4 minutes, but we were coming on. But yeah, it's just one of those games, isn't it? I think it was definitely an eventful game of 2 halves, very calm in the second. Maybe that was the influence of Connor Cody in the second half, calming things down a little bit. But yeah, crazy game in the first half.
Right, Claire Hakeman, thank you very much indeed. We will be back on Saturday night for the official friendly with Besiktas, and then Claire will be back with me on the Wolves YouTube channel on Sunday morning with another practice game against Villarreal B. If all this can happen in just what should have been the friendliest of friendlies, who knows what could happen this weekend. Join us for that on Wolves TV.